So here come the riders now. They're about to hit that right-hand turn and make their second effort up the, I'm going to call it the penultimate or only climb, the only real climb. There's a little ramp up to the finish though, which stings. So
lots of power-ups being played at this point, so good time to play a little feather power-up as they certainly come up. There's plenty of those being played right now.
Yeah,
Proco win there, Dallas.
Some orange and reds coming through there now, Tim. Well over 12 watts a kilo from the athletes at the front of the group, and this is going to drag the legs out of the guys and girls at the back. So if you've got a power-up now and you're falling off the back, it's time to hit the button and use it and burn that up before we get into another one in a short amount of time.
Glassenup here off the front. Glassenup does like to go to the front sometimes. We've got Dowling there as well. They're just starting to come through. These guys, some serious pace now, nearly 30 miles per hour. Little attack there off the front there by Dowling in the all red. Feather power up being played, so just easing the legs to 10 watts per kilo up that ramp. That's really starting to make that attrition kick in. We've got a nice little response there as well. Maybe a mini attack here, Greg. We've got two riders going together. Dowling and it seems Endo are coming together here. They've put 1 second now back to the main pack. We'll need to see us run, or maybe that's Henry, I apologise, but there's a little break there, and the others in that main pack, Hansen, Sproul, they're going to have to respond. You don't want to let two riders go up the road on this circuit.
Absolutely. These two are definitely teaming up together as they come through the volcano here. And 2 seconds back now, 9.7 watts a kilo from Dowling as he rolls up to Henry. So these two may work together here. We had three in last night's event. Can two hold off?
Maybe they watched.
I took the wrong tip last night, so we'll see. See, these guys might have been dialing in and talking to each other offline and checking out what's happening. So
they seem to definitely be working together. Sometimes it's hard to get that coordination going, Greg. So they seem to be working together now, straight off the front. So we've certainly got that main big pack. Will be hard to hold them off, I must say, because there certainly is some talent sitting in that front group at out to 5 seconds now. So getting an awkward distance, you can see them back there. They're all probably sitting up and look at each other, so to speak, in the Zwift world and wondering who's going to make the attack, who's going to bridge that gap up to Dowling and Henry now. They've made the break
They're
just
working
like we saw last
really
night.
well together here too, Tim. They're rolling turns at the front, taking off that little draft feed you get off the back of the group. So we'll see Dowling come through again over the top of Henry and definitely working together. So you'll see Henry's power drop a little bit as he sits in on the wheel of Dowling, and then he'll have a little push off the front as well. Another little ramp up here at 3.5%. So definitely these two working their butts off, trying to establish that 5 second gap. Until we take it out, we saw last night too, went out to 25 seconds, came back to 9 seconds in the end, but certainly these two are the ones to look at in the next few kilometres of this event.
Yeah, both sitting 180 beats per minute, not knowing them exactly, but certainly, you know, for any rider, 180 beats per minute is working. You would imagine there'd be a little bit of Zwift rain on the carpet or the Wahoo Kickamat 4. So they'll come up this little ramp here. You can see top right, 6% now as they come. This is essentially the finish line, not of course on this lap, but it gives you a bit of an insight, and you get that second kick on this volcano circuit. Often you think you've got it, you throw the arms in the air, and that second ramp comes and just punches you in the head.
Right in the face. So someone rolls straight over the top of you. It's happened to me before in this exact event. So we always see in this event now, Tim, the sprint comes really late with about 200 or 300 metres to go. So we're on to the third lap there now, so 2 laps to go. We'll see these guys roll around, and it looks like the main pack is going to run them back in.
Yeah, it may be the case. We've got Endo here now just coming off the front, trying to get a toe through. And we've got, of course, Alex Side there. Alex Side, a really strong rider sitting on the front of that main pack. They're trying to bridge back across now to those front two riders. They certainly are coordinated, and it seems to me like this pack here is getting somewhat coordinated now to try and drag through. Endo now just dropping back into the group, refreshing those legs after doing a bit of hard work.
Yeah, still that 5 second gap though, so just that nasty little thing. Like if you want to push yourself off the front, it's going to require a 40 to 60 second effort at threshold or above threshold to get back. They're still working really well together. It's like they're in the same pain cave together, just negotiating what's going on. So these two riders working really hard. So we've got Henry still there, 162 beats a minute, 4 watts a kilo. Dowling now a roll through the front, 7 watts a kilo. So we're back to 4 seconds. Still a good
ramp. This will show us, Greg. I think that this ramp on this one, if we have a look at, back to a 3 second gap, that seems to be now closing right down. And of course, you're going to have a lot more fresh legs in that pack. So riders like Sproul, who really haven't burnt any matches, you imagine these two guys, Henry and Dowling, you'd have to imagine that they've certainly burnt some matches tonight here.
Absolutely. You'd have to imagine that they've certainly spent a few bickies. Now, they're back to 1 second now, so this is all going to come back together before the
good effort,
before the next climb.
That's good training.
We'll see if they they can stay with the group now on the climb. So just keep an eye on those two riders as they rejoin the front pack now of about 30 riders. So
yeah, Glastonap in there, Henry. So they've all come back to sit up. They're going to take this right-hander up this ramp. Look for a lot of green little feather power-ups. That's just going to ease the weight off these avatars as they come up this hill. Here they come now. Look at all those feather power-ups. Big attacks there. So got some nice numbers here by Jepson. Jepson here, 6 watts per kilo. Leclerc in there as well.
There's
and
Sproul
of course,
10,
Sproul there in there as well. Here's another little attack off the front by Proco, it seems. Alex Side in there as well. All those feather power-ups now burn as they come up this second kick. It's all up to these guys now to get it done.
Yeah, so that's Dowling off the front again. He's had a 20-second rest, and then he's had another big push off the front. So certainly got some bickies to spend tonight. Has that rider there. So we've got Proco there. Dowling's, again, 8 watts a kilo as he leads the group up. We've got Min in that group. I can still see Alex Side in that group. We've got Endo, Glastonap, Proco. So really strong group of riders, and there's still a couple of power-ups being used as they come across the top of the climb.
First time I've seen Bailey come to the front, I think. I might have that wrong, but yeah, I haven't seen Bailey's name pop up at the front there, so good to see some new riders. Amado in there as well, at the Korean flag. Amado Berger, we know really well from Canada. So some strong. We've got the US, Canadian. We've got it looks like Kay Allen. I think that appears like an Australian or maybe a Kiwi flag. Same, but different, of course. But we love our brothers over there. So Proco in there as well, and Austin Feld.
Yeah, so everything will settle down a little bit again now. Riders get a chance to get a breather if they can. So still, we're watching Jepson there pushing 170 beats a minute. So that's not a rest, Tim. That's certainly working away. So
speak for yourself.
If I get to 175 beats a minute, I'm hitting the red zone.
That's where we
and I've got about 7 minutes left in the leg. So
when we go out for our long rides on a Sunday and we head up our back hills here on the Sunshine Coast and ask you what your heart rate is, and we both, yep.
Well, at least now I can ask you what yours is again. You've reinvested in it. It's still working?
I do.
Been going for a month now?
Yeah, it's the longest the heart rate strap's ever lasted. I'm a bit of a heavy sweater, and I gave up on them for a while there.
Certainly
but I've come back because, of course, I want my data to be ratified. I want it to actually count.
Right. So here we go. So we got Berger there. We got Berger there still. So it's good to see these comments coming through on Facebook as well. Thanks, Daryl. That's good to see.
Dazzler.
Not Daryl.
Dazzler.
So he's certainly still in that front group. So it's really good to see. We've got Wong in there, Dowling, Min. Really good shout out to a few of the. There's a couple of Carl Sports jerseys.
Got some questions here on Facebook. One from Jason Avery, one of our more popular athletes in Perth. His head's going to wobble off now that I've said that. I can't believe that just came out of my mouth. But he's asking about perceived pain thresholds increased since combining esports into training. You are 100% correct, and I did a podcast yesterday on Training Babble with Dave Shell, and I spoke at length around almost this whole thing around you almost need a training and a racing threshold now, because you get this big gap where if you went and applied the new FTP in Zwift Racing to their training, scientists' heads talk about wobble off, that's their real threshold, but they'll kick up here, of course, as well. But there is that gap, and you've got to try and find that as a coach, because sometimes you go and apply that racing threshold to a structured workout, and they last about 25 minutes. So that's not really effective.
Hand in the air here, I've definitely got 2 thresholds, one for Zwift Racing and one for every other bit of riding I do.
Shows that competitive spirit. So we are coming up to our last lap here. So last lap under 20 minutes.
Flying.
We're coming up to our last lap. So that's now ticked on down. Yeah, here they come now. So we'll see lots of action here.
Absolutely. So I can still see Dowling there. We've got Scaffardi off the front of the group. We're looking in miles, Tim, on Nathan's screen. We'll run in the kilometres, though, in our language. Tim was getting worried. He's seeing miles. He's like, what's going on here? So, anyway, I'll do the translation for you. So,
15.6 kilometres. Yeah. Righto, that's how much we've covered.
So we've got Dowling in there, Carilli, Winton, Proco. This is going to be the penultimate climb as they go past the Carl Sports Rock very shortly, and then they take that big right-hander and hit that pinch. What you do want to have gotten in that last little
aero.
Or you want an aero?
I want the aero. Or do you
want the feather?
I'm going the aero all day.
Okay, so you hold on to the aero to the sprint finish. We've got someone in the Chris Froome Superman position there in the middle of the group. Good to see. Just doing a bit of freewheeling as they roll down the hill.
Alex Side there, right down the back of the pack there. Look for Alex Side in the finish. Does have some really good power. Great across. We, of course, do the S&S course as well, so we rotate through. We should, give some insight. So it's a 3-course rotation. So we go Volcano Loop. So here we are doing 4 laps. Next week we're on the sands in Sequoia. Or Sequias, as I've sometimes been corrected on. And then we head back to Watopia for the flat 2 laps. So we do like to rotate through, which does a bit of a look as to different strengths, because of course the S&S course has Titans Grove.
Yep.
And boy, oh boy, do we see some big numbers coming up that a great training circuit. I find a lot of athletes I put on there on the S&S course. Nice distance, got a nice
the
mix
rollers
of
through
flat.
Titans Grove sort you out.
Yep. Here they come up the ramp. I'll hand over to you, Greg, as you call them
so there's going to
up
be
here.
some big arrows. Sorry, not some big. Here's Alex Side now coming to the front. We'll see a lot of yellow lights coming up here. Well, they're not too many.
Yeah,
so
keeping him in their
huge,
back
they're
pocket.
all saving him. So we've got Henry. We've seen him off the front earlier before. 12 watts a kilo from Henry. And a huge group still here, Tim. There's not too many riders being jettisoned off the back, but I'm sure we'll see a little bit of attrition as we come through. Did see Endo there briefly pushing 9 watts a kilo to try and stay with the group. We're watching Sproul at the moment. Sproul's 180 beats a minute. 220 watts. He just sat up a little bit as he comes across, and there's this second little pinch now which sorts a few people out. So we've got Glassenat right at the front of that group, Ostenfeld in there. Still watching, we're just staying with Sproul for the moment at 180 beats a minute, Tim. So anyone that thinks that Sproul just rolls around and puts his hands up for the victory, you are absolutely incorrect. So
good point.
We've got Hansen in there, Winton still in the front group, and I didn't see... If I saw 2 power-ups be used there, that would be a miracle.
Couple of draft buses being played. That's about it. So, yeah, Nathan, of course, the whoops Imperial. That's okay, mate. We're intelligent coaches. We can make the translation.
Well, one of us is. One of us can work it out.
We're a team. I have strengths and weaknesses.
Absolutely.
And one of those is maths.
That's absolutely. So, Tim, I'll ask you a question. How many kilometres are in 1 mile?
Oh, that's a ridiculous question. 1.6, of course, mate.
Got it. 4 laps of the track, that's all you have to think of.
If I got that wrong, I think I'd be sacked by about 100 athletes.
Put you on the spot.
Here we go off the front. We better go back to the action now. So we're with Sproul, but looks like there's some big numbers being played. Sproul, 11 watts per kilo.
Dowling off the front again as well.
Dowling off the front as well. So they're laying down the hammer now. Henry there as well with the draft bus.
They're going early, Tim.
But they have gone early here, putting the hammer down. They're not waiting. They're not waiting for Sproul to dictate the action tonight. Sproul needs to respond, and he is. Up to 10 watts per kilo there. 8.3 watts per kilo by Sproul. Trying to respond to Henry. Henry's put a 1 second gap back to Sproul now, but only 1 second. That is not going to be enough. Ostenfeld in there as well. 5 seconds back to Corrigan inside.
This is a great attack. So this has really busted that group up from Henry. He's really pushed hard off the front. That's about his 4th attack of the race. So Dowling now.
Big gap.
Oh, this is a good gap and not too far to go. So we'll see if Henry, what bickies he's got left is 177
far
beats a minute, 5.8 watts a kilo.
That's
so still going on with it. Dowling now off the front of the group, trying to push 10 watts a kilo. We've got Sproul in there coming back, Corrigan, Endo, Hansen. So good, still a
this
big
ramp's
group behind.
This ramp's really going to hurt. There's the Koa Sports Rock, of course. So here's that ramp. That group now just back to 3 seconds. Henry's going to have to really hurt. This would be seriously hurting on the trainer if we could only see his face as they wind their way here.
They're using
right
the power-ups early now, Tim. They have to get back to Henry in front. So we've got Dowling again. Dowling pushing big off the front. I'd like to see his FTP. Not far to go now. Here comes Henry off the front. I reckon they're going to run him down. We've got Dowling there. Dallas at 12 watts a kilo. Here comes Glassen up. Where's Sproul? Where's Sproul? Here he comes. Henry still holding on. Here comes Dallas over the top.
Dallas.
12 watts a kilo from Dallas. We've got Endo in there. 12 watts a kilo still from Dallas as he pushes up to the line. Not too far
Dallas
to go, and he
gets
takes the chocolates. Wow, a bit of a turn up for the books there from Dallas. He's come through and absolutely timed his run to perfection. I can see Alex Side in there, must have come through in the top 5 yet again from Alex.
How good was Henry there attacking
What
early?
A great attack.
That's what I love to see is someone doing what I do, attacking early and just not quite getting the job done.
If you don't have, well, I can see, we're just watching Dallas there. His heart rate is still 180 beats a minute as it comes down, as these guys and girls all sit up and have a well-earned breather. It'll be interesting to go back and rewatch that finish later on, Tim. But that was, here we go. We've got the replay coming through. Look at him go over the top there as Henry just gets popped on his way up to the line. So
nice little cool down here from Sproul, mate. Very well called, and we'll give plenty of insights there. So that was some seriously good action. They came across in under 24. That's definitely one. It says when you go to Zwift Community Live, it would appear that it gives everyone a whole nother gear of racing.
A little bit of sizzle. So here we are back in the studio, and thanks to Nathan, our incredible producer. That was amazing, mate. And hopefully we did it a bit of justice, I reckon.
I think so, mate. I think so. We do get the big head wobble from time to time. But if you do want to find out a little bit more about our coaching, make sure you head to our website or Facebook page. We're on Instagram as well. We've got plenty of unbelievable athletes out there, endurance athletes, triathletes, trail runners, cyclists, also. We had some great results down there at the Taupo Classic over the couple of weeks ago. Of course, we do some Zwift live events as well, triathlon space. So we absolutely love this space. And again, mate, thanks for the opportunity, Nathan. And if you'll have us back, we'd be honoured.
Well, I think the best thing is, Tim, you can all come back and join us next week, same time, same place. So we'll be on again, and next week we're off to Sandon Sequoia, I believe. So
that is correct.
And through Titans Grove, a one-lapper, a very good race. It's always full of action, and we look forward to seeing all you guys then.
Thank you.
Big old thank you to Greg and Tim. Awesome commentary all around here on Zwift Community Live with Koa Sports. And you guys make sure to throw some follows over there. And it is linked in the Zwift Community Live post as well. And hello to everybody over on Koa Sports, as we are embedded over there. And so really enjoyed that. I'm going to go over the results here really quickly, just so everybody knows how things threw down in the A's. For the top 10, it is Mark Dallas. Henry came through in first place. It was a half a second, 0.5, it looks like, ahead of David Kim Amato for Vision Cycling. Then Neil Ostenfeld for Evoke, the new esports team out there that recently launched. So good to see some of the top esports teams showing up for the Warrior race today. That's your top three. Alex Side, then lots of aggression from Alex Side we saw there throughout, so that's cool to see. In fourth place, Alessandro Sproul. I was told before the race that he's a big hitter, and ends up in fifth place, though. So a little bit of competition for him out there today. Nick Glassnap, though, Nick Glassnap riding for Dirt. Mark Min for HPP. Good to see Mark, and shout out to both Carissa and Mark out there on the East Coast. To Jason Henry for Draft, another big esports team. The Gorilla is out there hammering away. And then it's going to be Ben Dowling for 9th, and then for 10th place, Brian Hansen from Team Cryogen with the old guys. So, hey, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Make sure to show up next week. Head on over to Koa Sports. Throw them a follow. Amazing esports as well as coaching. Obviously, that's the main focus that they've had over there. But now jumping into us here with these broadcasts on ZCL. Look forward to so much more. As always, everybody, great job to all the racers out there. And a big old ride on out there in the world of Zwift. We'll be live again next week. I believe it. Well, we may have a 3 a.m. broadcast coming up. Watch out, ZCL. I got information like a couple hours ago that I might have a 3 a.m. broadcast, 9 a.m. GMT. I don't know if anybody who even be up at that time is watching right now. Maybe those in Australia, obviously with the Southern Hemisphere. So something might be leaked out that is a pretty big deal at 3 a.m. We'll see if that broadcast comes your way. Otherwise, we'll be live next week, Tuesday and Wednesday here on CCL. Thanks, everybody. Right on.